but since I have 1 o'clock here, so let's go ahead and get started. I would like to introduce to you Lisa Kolstad, Xactly, who, as you know, at least as of yesterday, if not before then, the Red Cross has contracted with Xactly to use some sales performance and compensation software for this coming year. So Lisa will walk us through what Xactly is, how to use it, etc. So Lisa?
All right, thank you so much. Just for everyone's note, all the phone lines have been muted, so if you do have any questions at any time, please feel free to chat them in the chat window of the GoTo training, and we will address them at the end. We will have some time for Q&A at the end as well for you to ask any questions that you might have about the tool. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we'll talk about is what is Xactly. So American Red Cross has purchased the Xactly Incent tool, and essentially this is going to be the way that your compensation will be calculated from here on out. So every user or every person on the sales team is going to have their own unique login into the system where they can view their own data at any time. This is also an automated process, and so everything will be loaded through the tool for your viewing, and we'll talk about the ability that you have to view your data online as well as through the mobile features. So here we have some features about Incent that are helping out American Red Cross here. Essentially, we're driving you away from your old commissions tool that you were using, and you can access directly through Salesforce.com. So again, other important messages will be pushed to you, and I'll show you where you can find those as well, so you are always up to date with your compensation status. And then additionally, you will also have the ability to review documents within the tool and approve them directly through Incent. So here we have sort of some terminology, some high-level views of some terminology about the system. Xactly uses some unique terminology that you will eventually get accustomed to, and this slide deck will be available for you, so you can reference this section to talk about or to know what all the different parts of the tool mean, and we will go through them during the training as we get to them as well. So during the training today, our goals are to go over the application itself with the basic functionality of the tool. We will also review the Sales Pod dashboards as well as the reports that are available under the My Incentives tab. And then for managers on the line, we will also go over the reporting capabilities that you will have under a tab called the My Team tab. So a lot of this may be foreign to you so far, but don't worry. We will jump into the live application here in just a couple minutes, and you will have a chance to take a look at what the system is going to look like once you log in. But first, we will start with what to do once your account gets activated. So once your administrators have activated your account, you will receive an email that looks identical to this. You can see in the second orange box below that this contains your username. Your username is your full email address, and it is case sensitive. Just below, we have a link that says click here to set your password. This is a one-time use link, so make sure that you fill out the password form in its entirety before you close the page. But clicking that link is going to take you to this page here. So you can see that you have some basic password requirements, and then upon entering your password and clicking Save Password, you will then be launched into the application. So again, I did mention that you will be able to access directly through Salesforce.com, and we'll go through how to do that here in just a moment. But I especially want to highlight the last bullet point that you see here, which is our certified browsers. So currently, Incent is certified with Firefox versions 29 and 30, as well as Internet Explorer versions 9 and 10. So as you can see, Google Chrome and Apple Safari were not mentioned and not listed, and that's due to the fact that they are both not certified with Incent at this time. So if you do have issues using the application to its full functionality, simply switch back over into Firefox or Internet Explorer, one of our certified versions, and this will most likely fix your issue. On top of that, to note, our system does come down monthly in order to have new features added to the system, enhancements, and then sometimes included in those as well are new browser versions. So stay tuned and make sure that you are up to date with our most recent browser versions. So now let's talk about how we will navigate directly into Incent. So what we will do is, essentially what you want to do is log on through the way that you typically access Salesforce.com. So once you are in Salesforce.com, you are going to see an Incent tab on your Salesforce dashboard. So you can see it's circled here in red. And clicking this tab will then launch you into the application directly. But if you do have any issues logging into the system, we do have a couple slides here on what to do if that does in fact happen. And again, this will all be available to you for your reference. But there is one area that we will need to talk about if you're using Internet Explorer. You need to definitely add Incent, or Xactly Incent, as a trusted site. So we have some steps here on how to do that and adding this as a trusted site. There's a variety of different pages within the application that you will navigate to, different drill downs and pop-ups and things like that, and you want to make sure that you are able to access all of those areas there. So here you can see this is where you can, some of the steps to add this Xactly Corp URL as one of your trusted sites. And then also, if you do get any errors about compatibility mode, this is something else that you can turn off in order to use the application as desired. So essentially, if you have any other problems, please feel free to email Lindsay Poor. Her email address is here, and then add some screenshots as to whatever your issue may be about. So again, you will have the slide deck for reference, so you can access this again to make sure that you have everything configured correctly. On top of this, your administrators have also enabled the mobile feature for Incent. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, feel free to navigate to the App Store and download our free application. And you will be able to see some summary data of what you can see right now online, and specifically that includes your incentive statement. So this is one of the main reports of the application, and we will dive into what all the components of this report here in just a moment. But here, as you can see some summary detail of what's on this report. So specifically, you'll be able to see all of the quotas that you're assigned to, all of your goals, as well as your percentage of attainment towards those quotas. We also will be able to see a breakdown of the payments by month as well as by the year. So you can actually drill into these values to see exactly what's being displayed here. So I'm already seeing some chats coming into the window about for other mobile devices. And here's our current answer for our mobile features. So again, currently we are only available on the as an app for iPhone and iPad. But for all other users, we do have a mobile website that you can use to access on the go. So here it is. It's essentially the same as our corporate website, but a little different. So it's www.xactlycorp.com/mobile. So from here, you'll see a similar login page where you can then see some of the summary data that you can find online. So it is in our roadmap here at Xactly to add more available mobile features, but at this time, again, we're only available on the iPhone and iPad, so stay tuned for that. But with that, I'm actually now going to jump into the live application, and we are going to take a look at two users today. We're going to take a look at a sales representative user or an account representative, as well as a sales manager user. So these users that you see here are meant for demo purposes and training purposes only. So just keep in mind that you will be able to see your data once you log into the system. So this screen that you see here, we'll start in the sales or the account representative portion first. But this screen that you see here is called your default dashboard. You can see in the upper left-hand corner of this area that this is called your fiscal year 15 comp plan information dashboard. These 4 rectangular areas that you see here are all called pods. Pods are going to show you some summary data of what you can find embedded in the reports under some of the other tabs that we have available, as well as some additional tools. So let's go through each of these 4 pods here now, that way, because they will all be consistent for all sales representatives. So starting in the upper left, we have the messages pod. Your messages pod is essentially your inbox to the entire system. So the My Messages section is going to be your personal inbox. I will show you here in just a little bit how you have the ability to send messages directly and internally within the tool. So this is where ultimately they will all appear, so you can reference this section as your inbox. Just below, we have Xactly administrator messages. From here, your administrators have the ability to push out business-wide notifications to the entire sales organization. So stay tuned and make sure that you are looking at the messages pod every time that you come into the system to ensure that you have the most up-to-date information and announcements available. To the right of this pod, we have the Xactly Docs pod. This is a unique pod in the system, speaking to the fact that I did mention in the beginning that you would have the ability to approve different documents within the system. So the Xactly Docs pod is going to be the place where you can approve or decline these different documents that get sent to you. So here we can see that this user actually has an action item, so a document that's awaiting some type of action from us. So if I click on the hyperlink to drill into that details, here I can see that I have a comp plan available for my approval. The status is currently in pending, so it's letting me know that I have some actions that I need to do for this document. So as you can see, once I click on this specific line item, we have some details appear here on the right-hand side. First, in step 1, this is going to be where you can find the document components. And you can see in the middle of the screen of this step 1 that we have a View Document button. Clicking this will bring up the specific plan document. Looking here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that we have a little printer icon. So here you can print this document directly from this screen. And after you've had a chance to review the document, plan document components, as you scroll all the way down to the bottom, here you can see first that we have this long bar section here. This is actually your comment box. So what you can do is any comments that you have entered, if you feel like you need to add comments about this document, you have the ability to do so by entering them here. And then in the lower right-hand corner, you want to select the comment button, and this will submit your comment towards this document. But essentially, your goal here is to either approve or decline this plan document. So I can click the Accept button to accept the document, or Decline to decline the plan document. So once you click Accept, no further action will be required, and you have accepted the document within the system. So I'm going to go ahead and click Close for now. But just so you know that once you approve the document or decline it, this status will then change to either approved or declined. Here, the next step that we have is step 2. This is where you can view the comments. So if we had happened to enter any comments here, they would be listed with also a date and time stamp. Finally, in step 3, we have Track the Status of Process. So here I can see that this document was actually routed to my manager first, and they have already previously approved this document, and so now it is in my possession for approval. Nobody is after me, so as soon as I approve the document, no further action will be required for any user in the system. If for whatever reason you need to come back and take a look at this document again, you can come into the More Actions drop-down list here and mark this document as unread. Clicking that will then put it back into a bold state here on the action items section. Once you've approved the document, you will no longer see the document in the Action Items tab. If you need to go back and review any documents that have been sent to you, you can simply click the All Documents tab, and all of the documents that have ever been routed to you will all be listed here. So you can always access any of the documents at any time. So as you can see, this Xactly Docs pod is currently taking up the whole dashboard view. If we go into the upper right-hand corner, you can see that we have a little button that has some double arrows. This is actually maximizing and minimizing the pod. So I'm going to click the button here, the double arrow button now, and you can see it puts the pod back in its original place. In the lower left-hand corner, we have our current plan information pod. Just below, you can see the data is being displayed for 2015. And here we have some basic components about our comp plan. And as we scroll down a little farther, we have a button here that says Show More. There is a report here in the system that I will show you in just a couple moments called your Plan Summary Report. Clicking the Show More button will take you directly to this report. In the lower right-hand corner, we have the current year attainment pod. Here we can see attainment is being displayed for 2015. On the axis, we can see the quota that was currently being listed here. And all of our graphs in the system have a unique hover over feature. So you can see as I hover over this graph, I can now see the full quota name and the exact percentage of attainment that is being displayed. So you can reference this at any time to see where you are towards achieving your quota. Your administrators have also given you the ability to create custom dashboards. There are additional pods that will eventually be rolled out to you for you to utilize. And again, essentially they're showing you summary data of what you can find in the reports to maximize your efficiency when you're moving through the application. So let's talk about how to do that now. In the upper left-hand corner next to our dashboard name, you can see we have a little green drop-down. Clicking that arrow will then prompt us at the bottom to add a user dashboard. Clicking that button will take you to a page that looks like this. So again, currently you only have these 4 pods available, but additional pods will be available in the future. But to create a custom dashboard, what you will do is in the dashboard name section, you can enter a name for your dashboard. It can be anything that you want it to be. And then once you create a name for your dashboard, you want to select some pods to add to your dashboard. So just to note, you have the ability to add up to 4 pods per dashboard, and you can also create up to 4 custom dashboards. If at any time you would like to see what a pod looks like before you add it to your dashboard, you can click the Show Preview button here next to any of the pods, and a miniature version will appear here on the right-hand side. Again, all of our graphs have a unique hover over feature, so you can even see that this pod here, you do have the ability to hover over. So once you've given your dashboard a name and you've selected some pods to add to your dashboard, in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click the I'm Done button. This is going to generate the dashboard based on the pods that we have selected. I can continue to make edits to this dashboard by grabbing any of the pods by their headers and moving them around into a different place. In the upper right-hand corners of the custom dashboards, you do have some additional navigation buttons. We have a Manage Content button. This will take you back to a list of all of the pods so you can continue to make edits to your dashboard. And then we also have an Undo My Changes, a Delete My Dashboard, and a Save My Changes button. So for the future, once additional pods are rolled out, you will be able to create custom dashboards with them, and any custom dashboards you create will be available on the mobile features. So keep in mind that if you can still access these dashboards on the go. But now let's get into probably where you will be spending the most of your time in the application, which is the My Incentives tab. Oops, sorry about that. Let me quickly just log back into the system here. All right, so as this loads again, we were just talking about how we would now switch over and take a look at the reports that are available under the My Incentives tab. So these, under the My Incentives tab, we have access to 3 different reports. We have the incentive statement, the incentive details report, and then finally a plan summary report. So let's start talking about the incentive statement first. Starting in the upper left, you have the ability to filter through by the year. And then just next to this, we have a button here that says Submit Inquiry. So as I mentioned before, you are going to have the ability to send messages internally within the application. All of your messages will then appear within the Messages pod on your default dashboard. But this is going to be one area of the application that you can generate messages. So as you can see, the subject line is populating to the area of the application that we are in. And then in the description section, I have the ability to enter whatever my inquiry might be about. In the To line, we have an ellipse. And clicking this is going to give us a list of all the users in the system that have a user record. So a couple things to note here about the Submit Inquiry feature. Your administrators have asked that if you do happen to have any inquiries, to please send them directly to your manager. So you want to find your manager in the To line of this inquiry feature. On top of that, you only have the ability to send your messages to one individual at a time. You cannot send your messages to multiple individuals. If you wanted to send the same message to multiple people, you would have to go through this process multiple times. You also do not have the ability to upload attachments to these types of messages. And then finally, no outside emails will be generated through these Submit Inquiry messages. You have to be taking a look at the Messages pod to see if any inquiries have been sent to you, or maybe a reply has been sent back from one of the inquiries that you had originally sent. So as soon as you select who you'd like to send your message to and you've added your description, once you click OK, your message will be sent. There's a couple different areas of the application that the Submit Inquiry button is located, and I will point those out to you as we get there. Just next to this, we have a View Excel button where you can download this report that you see here as an Excel. And then keeping your eyes on the same line and all the way to the right, we have a View PDF button. This will allow you to download this report as a PDF file. But now let's get into the components of the incentive statement. The top section is going to show us some of our basic plan components here. So you can reference this section to see all of your different details, or a majority of the details related to your plan. Just below in the incentive summary section, this is going to be an area where you can see some summary data of what's being listed just below. So our first graph is going to show you your 2015 attainment by percent. So if you are assigned to multiple quotas, you can use the drop-down menu and select the quota that you'd like to view your attainment for. I can also hover over the little gear to see the exact percentage being displayed. To the right of this, I have our year-to-date summary section. So here, this is going to give you a breakdown of your the amount of credits, commissions, bonuses, payments, and incentive attainment that you have earned. On the far right-hand side, we have the payments graph. Again, all of our graphs in the system have a unique hover over feature. And this is one graph that will continue to populate as the year goes on. So as you can see, I'm hovering over Q1 in this instance, and it's showing me July payments, Q1, as well as the year. Each month in the quarter will be noted by a different color. So you will see multiple colors for every quarter, and then multiple columns appear as you move through the year and the different quarters. But again, this section is just showing you summary data. We can find everything that's being listed here just below if we scroll down a little farther. So now let's get into the main line items of the incentive statement. So first we have the Your Quotas section. This is going to give you a breakdown of the quotas that you are currently assigned to, as well as your specific quota values. Just below, you can see all of the credits that you have earned towards your quota, as well as your percentage of annual attainment. You can see that these line items are being broken down by Q1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally by the year. If I click on the double orange chevron next to any of the quarter headers, this will expand the quarter, so now I can see the specific months that are being displayed here. The next section we have is the Your Credits section. Credits are going to be what you have earned in order to increase your levels of attainment or to achieve your different quota values. So this section is going to give you a breakdown of all of the credits that you have earned by type. So here I can see that I have earned some training credits here, and the values that are being listed are actually underlined and hyperlinked. What this means is I can select the value that's being listed here, and now I can see the details that make up that total that I have selected. So if I select a specific credit that I have earned, just below I will be able to see the original order detail or the original transaction. So the farther right that I scroll here in the transaction or order section, the more details will be displayed about this order. If I wanted to see what commission I have earned off of this specific credit that I have selected, I can click the Commissions tab in the lower left and see the amount of commission that I've earned, as well as the rate at which my commissions were calculated. You may also note in the lower right-hand corner that we have an additional Submit Inquiry button. Clicking this button here now, again, is going to populate the subject line to the area of the app that we are in. And then in the description section, here what this is actually pulling in is the details based on what we have selected here in the previous screen. So all you would need to do here is enter just below whatever your inquiry might be about related to this specific item. That way you don't need to go through and look for the information related to your question. It's automatically being pulled in here. This is all your managers or your administrators will need to help with your request. So as soon as you select an individual to send your message to and you add your description, once you click OK, your message will be sent internally within the system. Just below, we have the commission section. So this will give you a breakdown of all the commissions that you have earned by type. I can also drill into these commission details that we see here, and it essentially works the same as the credit section. However, my top area is showing me my commissions. So if I select a specific commission, just below I will be able to see the original transaction here. And if I want to see the amount of credit that I have earned towards my attainment of my quota, I could click the Credit tab and see what I have earned. The last section that we have available on the incentive statement is the Your Payments section. Payments in our Xactly world is going to be the total of your commissions and your bonuses. So here you can see that if you add vertically for July, these values match. However, you can see that these payments are currently being listed as total pending. Pending in our Xactly world essentially means no spending. If you see payments in a pending state, this is currently what you can potentially earn. But as long as your payments remain pending, Your administrators still have the ability to upload new additional orders into that specific month or still have the ability to make adjustments. So this number that you see in a pending state may potentially be higher or lower than what you see directly on your paycheck for that month. Once your administrators are ready to pay you out for that specific month, you will see an additional line item in this payment section called total released. That released amount will be what you see on your paycheck. So just keep in mind, pending means no spending, but when you see payments in a released status, that is what you will be getting paid for that month. You can also see that we have some values here that are in the payment breakdowns that are underlined and hyperlinked. They're actually going to take you directly to the next report that we're going to look at here, which is our incentive details report. This incentive details report is going to show you a lot of the same information as the incentive statement, however, from the payment perspective. Starting in the upper left, we have the ability to filter through by the specific period that we'd like to view data for. We can submit an inquiry just directly from the screen, and we can also download what we see here as an Excel. Person and plan components will again be listed here at the top. And then just below here, we have a breakdown of all of our payments by line. I have the ability to edit any of the column headers that I see here by right-clicking on those columns to sort them by ascending or descending, lock or unlock the column, and then by hovering over the column section, I actually have the ability to add and remove any of these columns here in real time. So I can view the data that I'm specifically looking to take a look at. On top of that, keep in mind that any column adjustments that you make are sticky. So what that means is the next time that you come back and take a look at the incentive detail report, the columns will default back to all of the column headers being displayed. In the far right column, you may also notice that we have the payments. And this is, these values are, again, underlined and hyperlinked. So if I click on the specific payment here, I'm going to be able to view the amount of credit that I have earned. I can also use the drop-down menu and view any commissions that I have earned. So here's the rate at which it was calculated as well. And then finally, if I had earned any bonuses, I could reference the bonus section there. So a lot of the same detail on the incentive statement as well as the incentive details report, just depends on the perspective that you want to look at. The final report that we will take a look at for account representatives is going to be the plan summary report. So if you recall back to when we were talking on the default dashboard, you had a pod that was called your current plan information pod. That pod has the show more button, and it will take you directly to this report that you see here. The top sections will look very similar to what we've gone over so far. We have our you can filter through by the year at the top. You can submit an inquiry or download what you see here as an Excel. Person and plan components will be listed here at the top. And then just below here we have the quota section. So here you can see all of your different quota values by month, quarter, and year. Just below in the commission rates section, here you can see that based on your level of attainment towards your quotas, your commissions will be calculated as higher rates. So you can see as you increase your level of attainment, you can reference the right-hand side to see the percentage at which your commissions will be calculated. In the final section, we have your annual bonuses, and here you will be able to see a list of any bonuses that you potentially qualify for. So you can take a look at those there and see what you could potentially earn to achieve those bonuses. So with that being said, that takes us to the end of the account representative view. So if you give me just one moment, we are going to switch gears here, and now we are going to talk about the reporting capabilities that managers will have under an additional tab called the My Team tab. So as we launch into the manager view here, just to note, administrators will also have their ability to see their pods on their dashboard, and they can also create a custom dashboard using the drop-down menu. Managers' personal information will be found under the My Incentives tab, but we're going to focus on an additional tab called the My Team tab. So managers will be able to have access to 4 different reports. We have a team overview report, team incentive statements, team incentive details, and a team plan summary report. So let's start with the team overview report first. Starting in the upper left, you can see that you can filter through by the period you'd like to view data for. And as a manager, you have the ability to search for any users or subordinates that report directly to you by person name or position name in the hierarchy. You will only be able to see details for your specific users that report to you. Or you can use the organization hierarchy section. So here, if I click on myself, the manager, the team overview report is populated to show the components of this report to include myself as well as my entire team. Again, these users are meant for demo purposes, so the users that you see here, we only have one user reporting to this manager, but keep in mind that this report, if you had multiple people reporting to you, would populate to show the whole team. So this team overview report is going to show you your year-to-date attainment by percent. Again, I can hover over these graphs to see what's being displayed. And then just below here in the overview section, I have a breakdown of all the members of my team, including myself, and I can view the year-to-date attainment, year-to-date credit, commission, bonuses, and payments. But let's say, for example, that I want to take myself out of this report. I just want to look at my account representative. Again, I can search for them by person name or position name in the hierarchy. Or if I use the organization hierarchy section, I can click on the arrow button pointing to the right. And this will expand so I can see all of my users that report directly to me. So all of your users, if you have multiple people that report to you, would fill this white space here. So now when I select my individual account representative, you can see that the name field has changed for this user's, to essentially show this report from this user's perspective. And now I am only viewing details for this one specific individual. So the last 3 reports that we're going to take a look at are going to look very similar to what we've already gone over today. But first, let's take a look at the team incentive statements. So again, I'm still logged in as the manager, but because I have selected my account representative here on the left-hand side, now I am viewing this individual's incentive statement. As a manager, I have the same abilities as the rep does when looking at these reports. I can hover over any of the graphs that I see here. I can expand any of the quarters, and I can also drill into any of the details just as easily as my reps were able to do from their own screen. So I can get on the same credit, order, and commission level just as easily as they were. I can also view the team incentive details report. So based on the month here that I've selected in the upper left and the individual that I've selected, that is the month and the user that I will be looking at for this report. I also have the ability to right-click on the headers to sort columns, lock or unlock them, and I can also make adjustments into the views of this report so I can see exactly the information that I want to look at. To note, any changes that you make to the column headers in this report will not reflect back into what the individuals will see. They're simply meant for your viewing purposes only. Finally, we have the team plan summary report. So again, based on who I've selected here on the left, that's whose plan summary I will be able to view. So I can view all of the components of their plan here at any time. So as you can see, no additional detail is going to be relayed to the managers that reps can't see. Managers simply have the ability to view all of their subordinates' details directly from the My Team tab. It's meant so that if reps happen to have any questions, the manager can access and view their reports right from their own instance without having to log out. So again, the My Team tab is only available for managers. So with that, that takes us to the end of the demo portion of the application training. If you do have any additional questions, please feel free to chat them in the chat window, and we will address them accordingly. Thank you so much for your time.